Hey everyone, welcome to Two Car Pros. My name is Ryan and today I'm going to show you exactly how to scan for codes and hopefully get that pesky check engine light off. I'm going to go into what OBDII is and why you scan for codes and what exactly they are and all that other background information. If you already know that, skip to this timestamp right here and we'll get right into the meat of the video. Alright, so OBDII refers to a port that has been mandated by the federal government since 1996 on all North American sold vehicles. This port is really powerful. It basically gives you a window into what the car's computer is doing, and it can use that port to show you basic codes on what it thinks is wrong. In your car is a very powerful computer that can tell when things are out of alignment, out of spec, sensors are out, there's some sort of variable that is out of variance, the hysteresis has been thrown off, so it lights the check engine light saying, hey, I think this might be an issue over here, and it gives you a code and tells you exactly what that code means, and it points you in the right diagnostic direction. Basically, the computer notices something, lights the check engine light telling you, hey, there's a problem, and hopefully you notice before something bad happens. There are hundreds of codes that tell you many different things, so it's impossible for me to cover them all in this video. But a quick Google search or even going to our website, twocarpros.com, will point you into the right direction. Also on our website, an automotive expert will be along shortly to answer your question for absolutely free. So today's video is going to cover all of the powertrain codes or the P codes. This is a very basic scan. All basic scanners are going to be able to do what we're doing here today, even the cheap ones. However, this won't cover things like airbag or ABS or even body control. This is just P codes. Also, I often use trouble code and check engine light interchangeably. This is because once the computer is sure this trouble code is a problem, it lights the check engine light. So my vernacular, I just kind of use those things interchangeably. So the basic overview of this video is to scan for a code, find the code, identify the code, points you to the problem, you fix the problem, you erase the code, see if it comes back. If it does come back, go in a different direction. So in this video, I have a basic example. I unplugged two sensors and I waited to see when the ECM would notice and give me a trouble code to scan, find, and fix. However, most of the time your problem is going to be something a little more involved. You might need to replace a spark plug or a fuel injector or a sensor, or something got grounded out. There's a frayed wire somewhere. These are the sort of skills you're going to need to learn or look up on our website, twocarpros.com, and it's going to be bespoke to your exact problem. So I just give you a very basic one to kind of give you the outline of what you should be following. With all that out of the way, let's jump into it.
So on the table, I have three different scanners. We have a very cost-effective scanner. This one's about $20 or so. They can even go cheaper than that with being just a little Bluetooth dongle for your phone. Sort of a mid-range one that can do airbag and a couple other more basic functions. This one's about $60 to $90, something like that. And then we have the big Mac Daddy scanner. This thing's awesome. They're about anywhere from $500 to $800. If you are thinking about getting into working on your own car, I'd invest in one of these because it can do a bunch of extra vehicular functions like resetting keys, reprogramming different modules, and there's so much functionality. I'd be here all day listing it all. This is a really cool item. All three of these are linked down below in the description. I just buy one of these and I throw it in my truck and I just leave it there whenever I need it. Basically, the difference between these two is this will just display a code like P0304 or something like that, and you'll have to Google what that code actually means. And then you'll know what it is, because I don't know all the codes offhand. There's hundreds. This will display on the screen, hey, it's P0304. It means this, this, and this. Go check that. So I kind of think that's a little bit of a good upgrade, but these are great too because they do erase things, which is kind of the primary thing of getting your check engine light off is, well, erasing it after you fix the problem. So for today's demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and use the mid-range just so you can see exactly what the problem is when we scan it. So I'm in the driver's seat now. I have my key. I'm going to stick it in the ignition and turn it to the second position. So all the lights on the dash are going to come on, but I'm not going to start the engine. Do not start the engine during this whole process. It's unnecessary and can confuse the scanner and a bunch of different things we don't want. If you have the push button type, just push the button with the key fob in your hand until all the lights on the dash come on. Basically, you're turning the ignition on. So put the key in. First click, second click. And now, all the lights on the dash are on. Next, we're going to go into the driver's footwell. Most of the time, your OBDII port is located here. Sometimes it's located underneath like a cover, but it's usually labeled. Sometimes they kind of try to hide them, but just keep up your search long enough, and eventually you'll find a connector that looks just like this one. And then we're going to take whatever scanner we like and plug it into that port. Only goes on one way. Just like that. Make sure it's pressed on firmly, and then your scanner should come to life. So now with my scanner to life, we can click diagnose. It's going to sit here and enter the ECM. Just be patient. And then we're going to push OK. That all looks right. And then we're going to click read codes. And this is going to search throughout the computer inside of your car to learn what that check engine light is all about. So right here, throttle pedal position circuit A. All right, it says it has a problem there. And then it says something about the position. Okay, so definitely the throttle is something to be a concern of. And the circuit B, that's the same thing essentially. Throttle actuator control system force limited power. So what this is basically saying is the throttle positioning sensor is not happy. Either it is broken and needs a new one, they do go out, or there's a short somewhere, or it's unplugged. It needs attention. The TPS needs attention. So where it says current, that means it's for sure in the computer. That is why the light has been lit. However, if we keep going, you'll see a pending one. This means that it thinks there might be a coming problem, but it doesn't know for sure. And then it also has one right here. Another pending code for the camshaft position sensor. So this is a different problem that hasn't lit the light yet because it says pending on it. But it's something to keep of note. And it just basically says the same thing over and over, which is just kind of how it works. So basically, out of these 12 codes, I'm gleaning 2 problems. The throttle positioning sensor and that camshaft sensor. So let's go under the hood and take a look. And you can leave everything on. It's not going to hurt it. If you leave it on for too long, though, it might drain the battery. So maybe put a battery tender on. So right here, underneath the hood, as if by magic, the TPS was actually just left unplugged. Now, if the TPS wasn't unplugged, which yours probably isn't if that's a problem, I would go ahead and replace that sensor. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug it back in, make sure the safety's on, and we know that problem is most likely resolved. Now we can move on to the camshaft position code. And then bank 1 on this particular truck, I just happen to know, is if you're standing in front of the vehicle, it's on your left. It's the right side of the engine on Fords. And take a look. This sensor is also unplugged, almost like somebody did that for instructional purposes. But it does happen. You wouldn't believe how many people's cars come in here where they've done a repair and they just forgot to plug something in and missed it for whatever reason or another. And I just reached down there, plug it back in, reset the codes, and they're all good to go. So it's nice to do this kind of thing yourself. Just make sure it's nice and lined up, and then just click it on. Make sure it can't just plonk off of there. We are good. Now, again, if this is plugged in and it says it's having a problem, maybe the sensor is bad. I'd replace that sensor, erase the codes, and see if it comes back, just like the throttle positioning sensor. Now let's go back inside the truck. So now we're back in the truck on our scanner. I'm gonna go ahead and push the back button and get out of there. And since we think we've fixed our problems, we're gonna go ahead and erase those codes. We already have that set, and then just be patient. Okay, so it says it's reset it, and then we can go ahead and check it again. See if they're actually gone, because if they just snap right back, then you haven't fixed your problem. But in all likelihood, you're gonna have to drive it around. So it says it's pending, which means it's not current, which probably means that the TPS actually needs to be relearned, which is going to take a little bit of driving around. It's probably going to take anywhere from 50 to 100 miles of learning to get that completely gone. This next part's pretty important. Do not start the vehicle. Turn the vehicle off, remove the key. Let it hang out for at least 30 seconds, ideally a few minutes, to kind of get the ECM to more or less be happy with itself. I know that's a little bit of a vague term, but that's just kind of how electronics and computers work. And then next on the handheld, I just go all the way out and exit the function. Just push back as many times as you can to kind of get out of the ECM. It's probably a necessary step, but I do it anyway. And then just reach down here and pull the connector off, and you are good to go. Now I should be able to start the vehicle, and the check engine light comes off. If it's snapped back immediately, then, well, we haven't fixed our problem. But sometimes we'll drive the car around for, who knows, 50 to 100 miles, and if the problem's still there, the check engine light will just light again. So you have to make sure that you have really fixed your problem, but I just happen to know we have ours fixed because that was just for instructional purposes.
So that is how you scan for codes on an OBDII system. It's super easy. You can even go to somewhere like AutoZone or O'Reilly's, and I think they do it for free there. But I've always found it handy to just kind of have one of these super cheapy scanners around. They are very inexpensive, they're pretty powerful, and they do an okay job. Not to mention, if you're in the middle of repairing something, you don't want to keep having to run to an auto parts store. So just owning one yourself is the way to go, if you ask me. And again, the link is located down below in the description. If you found this video helpful or interesting at all, please consider becoming a member down below by clicking that join button. Is a direct way to help my channel out, and I so appreciate it. Barring that, a like, comment, and subscription go a long way in helping my channel again, and I appreciate that as well. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.